All right, Tigers, here we go. Rainy Sunday right now. This is a podcast for Monday, the 27th. Um, there's going to be uploaded right then and there. We get to that point. Tuesday, nothing, right? Act 80 day. You guys are off. Wednesday, pause day. I will have office hours, but again, unless you have a specific question, you don't need to log in at that point. Thursday, domestic terrorism. There is going to be a homework Google form on a lot of what we're talking about right now, so make sure you have that. Friday, the impeachment of Bill Clinton. Oh yeah, we're going to get to some of those as well. Okay, so hope everybody's having a good thing. Test is probably looking to be the 7th. I have a few more tests to grade. I'll probably get those up to you Tuesday, Wednesday, to see what the grades are at that point. Okay, so excuse me. Let's start with here in terms of Clinton's domestic policy, focusing mainly on the economy. Okay, some statistics here to talk about where we are. Basically, for almost Clinton's entire presidency, the economy grew and grew and grew, and it was the longest economic growth in U.S. history for almost 8 years. Okay, since been replaced by the growth under Obama and Trump until the recent downfall. Okay, now we talk about growth in terms of GDP. We like 2% growth. Remember the numbers we talked about. We want unemployment to be somewhere between 4 and 5. We want inflation to be 2. And growth somewhere between 2 and 3. Okay? That's what we're hoping. Clinton's economy was growing at about 4% a year. And one of the things was that he was able to turn us from a deficit to a surplus. And this was the economic belief at the time. If we stayed on this path here of surplus, there'd be no debt. Now, macroeconomically, there would have been a recession or two in there, but it would have been realistic to do that since I believe the current debt is somewhere over $26 trillion right now. We've added $4 trillion, I think, this year. Unemployment was at 3.9, lowest in a long time. Remember, HW's was at 7.8 for a while. Inflation fell under 2. Remember, HW's was 13, so money was very valuable at that time. Poverty rate was 2. Home ownership was almost 67%. And what happened was, at this point, let's make sure we're clear here. This is a picture of the stock market, right? You can see Wall Street crash, victory in Europe, Vietnam War, oil crisis. We were up here, and then Black Monday drew us down to this point, right? And then you see us skyrocketing, okay? There was a major boom in the technology industry, okay? And what happened was we had this major issue with internet providers, okay, and internet companies that caused this to go on. And you can see it's been a very jumbled mess since that point, okay? So major initiatives that he wanted to focus on were these as follows. And we're going to get to some of these today as we go on. But what I want you to see as and understand is how is Clinton and Gore moving on. Now, I hope this link works. Let's see if it comes through here. Come on. Yeah, it did work good.
Something's happening out there. A feeling. Call it hope. That our country can move in a new direction. But the future is something to look forward to, not fear. If that's what you're feeling, you may have noticed something else. You're not alone.
And there was this belief, guys, that change was starting to happen. So Clinton is selling himself, guys, as a new Democrat. Okay, and this is the term, especially for the homework on Thursday, you guys need to lock in on. Clinton is going to shift the Democratic Party to this idea of embracing both liberal and conservative policies, some on the left and some on the right. Okay, now why is this relevant? Okay, some of the liberal policies that he was pushing for. Clinton wanted a guarantee for affordable health care for all Americans. Okay, that's a very liberal idea. Bernie Sanders had his Medicare for All idea, right? One of the people that was pushing that policy that Bill Clinton put in place to help push this policy through was his wife Hillary. Okay? Now, Republicans in Congress defeated this push going forward, saying we didn't really need it at the time. Okay? On the other side, however, Clinton worked with Republicans to start to reform the welfare system. Okay? And now focus on this. The law put limits on how long people could receive benefits and allowed states to decide how that welfare money would be spent. So it gave the states much more power. This is a very conservative ideology here, that where you say you're going to get, Pennsylvania's going to get X amount of dollars, you decide how the money goes. Okay? So an example of a conservative policy. Clinton worked with the Congress to cut spending and to balance the federal budget. Okay? And what you could see is receipts, okay, are what are brought in. Outlays in blue here are what are being spent, right? And notice that there was a gap going to this point. Okay? In 1997, Clinton got the government to cut spending and lower taxes at the exact same time. And with all the increase in technology that was going at that point, it led to a balanced budget. And we haven't had one of those back since the Eisenhower administration, right? Now, to get to that point, early on in the Clinton presidency, he raised taxes. Now, he raised taxes on the wealthiest 1%. Those are people making $350,000 and above. He also eliminated the cap on Medicare, meaning if you were taxed at Medicare tax is about 1.5% of your salary right now. Once you hit $100,000 of salary earnings, you weren't taxed anymore for Medicare. Well, Clinton said, well, that's not fair. Everybody should be taxed the exact same thing. So everybody's now taxed at 1.5% for Medicare. And second, taxable amount of Social Security, 6.2% today, right, on $106,000. There still is a way to remove that cap, but we haven't gotten to that point later. And he lowered taxes on low-income Americans who are typically spending money at that point. Okay? So what you could see is, okay, here's a budget surplus or deficit, right? Low, 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 and all of a sudden, look, under Clinton, we're good. So by 2000, woohoo, 2000, right? And I don't even want to show you what's happening with it right now. Not good, right? Okay? And so when you look at this, okay, average federal deficit as a percentage of GDP by administration, okay? Johnson, surprisingly, this is surprising to me. Okay? But look who had the lowest one. Slick Willie himself, right? Look who had the worst one. Uh-oh. We'll get to that later. Okay? A couple other things. There was a push for a waiting period to buy a handgun. Handguns are typically the guns that are most commonly used in crimes of passion. So a 5-day waiting period was going to be put in place so that certain checks could go through to see who has a gun and any type of records that need to go through. We talked about Hillary trying to unsuccessfully pass health care. We talked, Senator McCain was one of the main people in support of this law for campaign finance reform to limit how much money candidates could receive from donors. Okay? It ultimately did not succeed and will be replaced by Citizens United, which we'll get to later. And then Clinton wanted to allow homosexuals in the military. The rule at the time, however, was you weren't allowed to be in the military. So the rule, sort of an agreement came forward here. The policy became don't ask, don't tell. The military won't say on a questionnaire, are you gay, ? But you're not allowed to say that you're gay. If that occurs, then you could be removed from the military. President Obama will replace this and remove this rule during his presidency. Okay, 9 minutes in. Hopefully, pretty straightforward. If I don't hear from you on Monday, I'll see you on Thursday. Have a great day, guys. Go Tigers.